law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Man, so apparently it's been another week that's gone by, and thank y'all very much for joining us here at the Big BoneYard. Man, this is going to be a very interesting night. It's a very interesting night, and I want to just and I see y'all checking in. Frost, Ghost Eagle. All right, that's what's up. All right, okay. All right, everybody's in the gang's all here. Okay, so look, y'all. This is a very interesting night, and we're going to cover a lot of different things. But we're going to start off as we ordinarily do. So stay plugged in, stay tuned in. If you know somebody's not watching, go get them. Go get them. And because they're gonna cut you out tomorrow if they actually happen to miss this, because we got some very, very cool and special guests that are joining us tonight, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, welcome to the Big BoneYard. You got myself, Big Bone 1%er, and Archbishop 1%er, as always. The hostess with the mostest, the doggone lifer of all lives, and I'm gonna think of some cool shit to say about that in a little bit. But in the meantime, we also have joining us, and we're going to delve into who these folks are as well. But we have Marie, and introduction is going to be coming in a little bit. Mr. Bobby Worthy, and also on the phone line with us is also Mr. Elmer Dixon. Mr. Dixon, you on the phone, sir?
Yes, I'm still here.
Right on. Okay. Well, in the meantime, like I always got to do, I got to check on my brother. Man, how was your weekend? Because I didn't even see you at all this weekend. It's been one of them times.
Yeah, because I had to work all weekend, man. That's how it goes. How you said we gotta work.
Oh, working. That's overrated. This is against my religion. I mean, I do it. I did it once back in the old days. But then my arthritis started acting up. All right, I made that up. I tried to pull a Fred G. Sanford just then. I don't know if it really worked.
But much nothing. Trust fund or old lady died and left me some money, nothing like that. So
I know, man. I hear you. I'm trying to change my ways. I'm gonna be, on the square in a little bit. I'm on the square. I'm gonna, punch a clock and everything. I'm gonna do it one of these days. I promise. But I tell you what. So to get this out of the way, because we got some wonderful folks here with us tonight. So what we want to point out is we do every week. So the opinion, we're going to talk about a lot of different things like we always do. We're going to talk about a number of different things, and conversations may go in any different direction. But as always, our opinions, myself, Archbishop, even our guests, our opinions are those opinions of ourselves, and our opinions alone. They do not reflect that of our motorcycle clubs or organizations in any fashion. Unless, of course, now for our guests, if they're a part of an organization, they can speak for them. Please feel more than welcome to do so. But for me and Archbishop, we're speaking for our damn show. Having said that there is what we call what do we call it, Archbishop?
Disclosure.
That's it. No, disclaimer. See, don't believe him. It's the disclaimer.
It's all the same.
Is a disclosure disclaimer? Okay. It starts with a D.
You can put in whatever writing you want. You're speaking
for
us.
Right, that part. But anyway, I tell y'all what. Hey man, everybody and their mother coming through. All right, folks. All right, I see you over there. Okay. So M Hopes, Ghost Eagle. Okay, it's good to see y'all joining. And like I said, so while we're doing the show, if you haven't done it already, definitely hit like, subscribe, share. Definitely share this particular episode. Share it with everybody and their doggone mother, because I think
I'm trying to share it. I can't figure it out how to do it.
It's if on the YouTube thing, it should be a thing on there somewhere on the YouTube thing, like below it, it'll say share, and then anyway. But even if you don't do it now, we'll walk you through it later. But it's definitely a way to do it. But for those of y'all watching, definitely them folks, they already know how to do it. So y'all definitely share the show. But in the meantime, if I can, I want to start doing some intros. And Archbishop, if you can help me a little something, on the line, on the phone line, we have a very impressive gentleman. And so matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Forgive me, bad manners. I'm going to start with, here's the description of tonight's show. We'll start with that. and I'm going to read it just like we wrote it. Okay, here we go. So this show was called Bikers Wear Black. Well, let's just say that the Black Panthers aren't just a movie. That's how we're actually calling this show. So here we go. So sure, we all see these. We all are used to seeing these bikers wearing all black, especially certain black bikers. But what's that all about? I mean, is it a Johhny Cash thing, or is there something more of more greater historical importance? Well, what if I told y'all the following things? What if I said, "Power to the people, freedom or death. We will defend our rights with every breath. No justice, no peace. All power to the people. By any means necessary. Liberation or death. And lastly, hands off our children." What if I said that? That don't sound like Johhny Cash no more, do it? Probably not. Not a whole lot. So none of that sounds like Johhny Cash. But so tonight's special guests are Mr. Elmer Dixon, also Mr. Bobby Worthy, and Marie. And these folks might be able to shed some light on the subject. So y'all ride on through. We're gonna hang out here at the Big BoneYard tonight. So that's the way we wrote it up. And the thing is that so these folks are either current members, former members of the Black Panthers and other organizations. And y'all know here on the Big BoneYard, we talk about organizations all the time. We talk about these issues that we have in the state of Florida and in the country. And we talk about folks out there doing the damn thing, people that are actively a part of the fight. So as bikers, we talk about bikers' rights because, you know, we're people first. Archbishop says that all the time. Yeah, we're bikers, but we're people first. So, you know, so hey, I believe that. So having said all of that, if we could please start with Mr. Elmer Dixon. Mr. Elmer Dixon is actually the co-founder, and I gotta now might be an opportunity if I can get this. Y'all take a look at this if I can get it to work right. So while I'm talking, so Mr. Elmer Dixon is a co-founder of the Seattle Black Panther Party. And we'll delve more into that in a little bit. The Black Panther Party, for those of y'all that don't know, if you've been living under a rock somewhere or you never went to school or ain't educated, Black Panther Party is a very important part of American history, not just Black America, but all American history. It's woven in the fabric of American history. These are some folks that throughout some of our lifetimes showed us what the fight actually looked like, you know? So that's, and we're going to talk more about that with you in a second, Mr. Dixon. But along with that, we also have, I'm very proud to have him here, Mr. Bobby Worthy. He's currently in the, he's currently a Black Panther who's also running for president of the Georgia NAACP. He's been involved, and also JAG. Let me say it properly. It's the National. Let me make sure I'm getting it right now. It is the National JAG. That's the National JAG Justice League United.
You're the National Judge Advocate General for the Justice League United.
That part. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. But no,
right there. It's almost a
hey, black power to the elder too, man. Black power.
Right on. And of course, Marie is somebody who's very interesting in the sense that she actually grew up under the influences and the auspices of both the Black Panthers and the Brown Berets, right? Is that about right, Marie?
Yeah, well, it was the Black Berets, but yes.
Black Berets, sorry. Yeah. Black Berets. And the Black Berets have been affiliated with or loosely affiliated with or basically patterned after Black Panthers, or how does that work?
Pretty much. We kind of went more along the lines of Che Guevara. You know, that was the whole reason why we wore the Black Beret.
Got you. Right on. Okay. Well, I tell you what, if we can, to get it started, Archbishop, and I know you did a lot of research and put a lot of this together. You want to get, and well, I'll tell you what I know, and you guys jump in there at your leisure. But I know, Mr. Dixon, so you co-founded the Seattle Black Panther Party, and so this is me doing the fanboy out type of thing. But did you know Bobby Seale or Huey P. Newton?
I knew both of them because there was actually only one real Black Panther party. It started in Oakland in 1967 by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale.
Yeah.
And it was originally called the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. We traveled to San Francisco State University in 1968, the spring of 1968, to attend the West Coast Conference of Black Student Unions. And it was days after the murder of
Malcolm
Martin
X.
Luther King.
Oh, Martin Luther King. Sorry.
No, Martin Luther King.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it was at that event that we met Chairman Bobby, because he was speaking, and he was talking about the death of little Bobby Hutton, who was the first member to join the Black Panther Party at 16 and the first to die at 17. He was very mad. And after his speech, my brother and I and a few others made a beeline for him and told him we wanted to start a chapter of the Black Panther Party in Seattle. So we became the second chapter overall outside of Oakland, LA being the first. We were the second, and then the first outside of the state of California. And the party grew to 60 chapters around the country. And we, fought our fight over the next 12 years or so. We closed the doors. The party ceased to exist in 1982.
Okay.
There have been a few organizations that have cropped up that call themselves Black Panthers, but I want to be clear that the legacy of the Black Panther Party is based in our comrades who died, who are still in prison, who were part of this struggle that was unprecedented in this country, and we're now trying to preserve our legacy so that we won't be forgotten and erased from the history book.
Right on. I remember when I was researching some of this, I learned that, or I read that that it was after the assassination of Malcolm X that a lot of folks, in particular in California, well, everywhere, but in California, because of a lot of police brutality and so forth, that really galvanized a lot of young folks, which ultimately that action is as catastrophic as it was, really led to the organization of a lot of folks getting together and saying, hey, we got to do something. How much of that is accurate and how much of that was somebody just writing real good?
Someone was writing real good. I think that all of us probably were inspired by any number of events. There wasn't just a single event. It was, you have to remember that Malcolm's death came on the heels of the civil rights movement,
Sure.
which was still active when he was murdered. And then Watts, then Detroit, those rebellions that broke out. There was a constant number of actions that were happening. I mean, all we go back to the murder of Emmett Till. I actually was born in the same neighborhood that Emmett Till came from. And then, of course, we grew up in an era of assassinations.
Sure.
So these things were happening on a regular basis. So it wasn't a single event. The single event that really led to, if there was a single event, as I said, it was a culmination of events. But there was a brother by the name of Denzel Dowell who was murdered by Oakland police. And Huey and Bobby began to put together a black political party to represent black people and to challenge the status quo, and wrote the 10-point program. That was in October of 1966.
Yeah.
And that was when the Black Panther Party was born. So of course, the murder of Malcolm and Malcolm's words inspired revolutionaries, but it wasn't that event. It was a number of events that culminated in the launch of the Black Panther Party.
This is fantastic, as we would say, no disrespect intended, from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I was reading that the 10-point program, and the thing that really struck me, found it fascinating, but also the fact that you could apply that right now today and it still be extremely relevant, extremely relevant. And in fact, I was going to read it in a little bit later on. But in the meantime, Mr. Worthy, man, thank you for being here, sir.
Man, what's going on?
Man, it is good to see you. So, what happened, I don't know if you could hear, but Mr. Dixon was saying some horrible things about you a moment ago. But I have a tendency to fib sometimes. I take a pill for it. It makes me stop lying. But what I was going to ask you is, on the heels of what Mr. Dixon was saying, what sort of inspired you way back in the day to get involved? Because was your first organization the NAACP, or was your first organization the Black Panthers?
Well, first organization was the NAACP. I was started off as state legal redress assistant to the legal redress chair.
In what state?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
And then some years after that, I realized that the NAACP was bound by rules and regulations of status quo, being a nonprofit organization. They had to deal with certain things a way that they couldn't deal with it. So this is when I met Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, Hashim Nzinga, and because of my background in legal and the legal system of being able to prosecute judges and take warrants out on police officers and hold them accountable for their actions, I joined the new Black Panther Party. And then from there, I became once I joined, I became the national minister of justice for the new Black Panther Party. Then some years after that, I became the special assistant to Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, the Black Lawyers of Justice. And then I became the special assistant to him with the new Black Panthers as he's after the passing of Hashim Nzinga. And he became, he resumed the throne as the chairman. And then I started the Justice League. In between all that, I realized that a lot of organizations have issues and rules and regulations. So I decided to start the Justice League United, which I have a black militia group as well, that is very strict. And once I get it, I got about 35 soldiers now. Once I get 100 strong, we're gonna come out and we're gonna march. We're gonna be suited and booted exactly the same down to our shoe screen. Everything is same to our bullets, to our weapons. And this is the problem that we have with most revolutionaries. You hear P. Gun Club, Fred Hammond's Gun Club, all of them. And I talked to all these guys and I explained to them, first of all, what real soldier, when you go into a battle, if we ever have to go into battle, we're gonna get wiped out. We're not ready. Because the fact is, nobody got the same weapon. If your weapon jam or you got run out of bullets, you're gonna be in trouble. So this is why the military is so powerful, because you have the same exact weapon, everything exactly the same. So if they get into that situation, they can go on. But being long story short, in the Justice League United, I can do as the Judge Advocate General and the founder. My only rule is to attack injustice how you see it. And if you feel like you need to slap the police, then hey, you do it. I'll back you up.
Right on. I'll tell you, I wanted to Delvin, I'm all excited. And see, I shouldn't even talk to somebody like you because it affects my brain in a certain way. So I feel you on that, because in the Marine Corps, we use a 5 point, when I was in the Marine Corps, it was a 5.56. Everybody used a 5.56, but we noticed in Vietnam, the Viet Cong used AKs, or like some variety of a AK or Kalashnikov and so forth. And those are 7.26. The thing about the 7.26 or those Kalashnikovs, you can take a round from an M16 and fire it with that Kalashnikov, but you can't do it in reverse. So these cats could, unfortunately, if they was able to overrun a position or to kill some Americans, they could take our ammunition and use it against us, but we couldn't do that in reverse. So, and those guys all carried the same exact thing, which would feed a couple of different rounds. So when you're talking about that, the Marine Corps in me, man, I dig that all over the place.
Well, I was in the range. I was in 75th Ranger Battalion, so for 6 years.
Outstanding.
So I was the hand-to-hand combat instructor. I'm also a retired MMA fighter, and I train younger fighters now. I'm still a coach. So I can, and with the NAACP, I can use it on the political platform. I can get jiggy with it too. So
right on. So what you're saying is you couldn't make it in the Marine Corps, is what you're saying? No.
hey, if that the case, why we train Marines?
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna argue with you later. That does happen, though. That does happen. But I'll tell you what. The other thing, what I wanted to ask you, because obviously you're very litigious. Are you an attorney as well, or are you just a very litigious individual?
I have a law degree. I just refuse to practice because the things that I do, they will go after my license and take them, so they can't take the degree from me. I use my platform. But see, like Ahmaud Arbery, right? The Ahmaud Arbery case happened because of me. It was because of me that I brought it to national attention. I'm the one that filed the petition with it, and it's on my page. You can go look at it. I'm the one that filed the petition to the grand jury that got Jackie Johnson, the district attorney, indicted. It wasn't an attorney. It wasn't no other organization. It was me and my co-defendant, who is now, because of what we've done, we had Jackie Johnson arrested and indicted. So we did another judge like that. So now we are facing 10 years imprisonment because of what we filed against the judge.
Wow.
They said we filed false documents.
That's incredible. That's incredible. But you know what? I think I love the fact that you're on this platform, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested in figuring out a way to. So before we leave here tonight, we're going to find out how folks can get in contact with you, how folks can support you, and how folks can get involved. So we definitely want to talk about that before we leave too. But Archbishop is forcing me to talk to Marie. No, hey, Marie, look. So, Marie, we are very glad that you're here.
Thank you.
You will love, and thank you for being so patient. Definitely thank you for being patient. And what we wanted to know is, so you come from a background, as in like you grew up in this environment, right?
Yeah, correct. My parents were involved before I was even born.
Okay.
And then
That's
I was
not saying much, because you're only about 12 and a half years old. So
I don't even remember 12 and a half. But yeah, I was born into it. You know, and I'll just say I'm over 50. So you know, I've seen a lot of stuff growing up with the organization that we had. It was very much it wasn't just for Mexicans. It was for mostly Mexican and Black, but anybody who was poor, because we had our own medical and dental clinics. We had our own school, which I think is very, very important, especially with everything that's going on in Florida, because had it not been for the school that I went to, taught by my own people, and when I say my own people, I'm talking about Mexican, Black, and Native American. Had I not been taught by them, I would not know our true history. Yeah. Because what they teach us in school is his story, which in his story, our people are always on the bottom. Our people always owe somebody. You know, so I was fortunate enough to learn our history.
I am so glad to hear you say that, because right now in the state of Florida, this is going to sound like a joke. It's going to sound like I'm making this up, but in the state of Florida, what we understand, our state legislature has just agreed to and is pushing the fact that slavery was something that benefited the enslaved people, because it gave them skills that would benefit them throughout their life. As in slavery was good. It was sort of like going to Votech, you know, like where you can learn heating and HVAC and maybe plumbing and become an electrician or something. I guess that's what they want to tell you slavery was. So probably in another 5 or 10 years, they're going to be trying to tell us that, well, you know, slavery was a program for at-risk youth from the inner city is what slavery was, because that's what, you know, they're just making it up as they go along.
And that's why it's so important that we teach our children our history, the real history. Otherwise, they're going to get the watered down version. Like, was there slavery? Yeah, there was slavery, but it's not as bad as everybody says, you know, because they learned a trade from it. That's going to be the history that they learn if we do not teach them proper history.
Right. So,
you know,
so to ask you, so if you were here in Florida, which hey, Florida's a great state. We just got some folks messing it up. So what would be your first response to being in a state like Florida, knowing full well with clearly you have a passion for education and you benefited from your own education. What would you do if you were in Florida? Like, what would be your first move?
Our first move would be go after the politicians. That's what we have to do. We have to go after the politicians. And I think that it's funny because, you have politicians there that come from immigrant families. So how would they feel if they lost their history? If they said, no, we can't teach Italian history, we can't speak on Italians. I bet their thought process would be a little bit different.
Right on.
I'm sorry.
Right on. I was saying right on. I dig that, and you're absolutely right, because our governor is very interesting that the only history of any certain people that's eradicated in the state of Florida. I mean, literally removing textbooks from all the libraries. Like, all the libraries are basically empty until a certain text or a certain book has been cleared by the governor's office, and is not a lot. It's a very strange sight to see empty libraries in schools. But that's a whole other subject. But while I'm at it, Mr. Dixon, what if anything would you again? We're Florida. We're going through it here, and even though this show folks watch from all over the country, and we love that. But considering that Florida is on fire with all this stuff, what would you advise those of us in the state of Florida who want to do something? What would you say? Are you there, sir? Hey, Mr. Dixon, are you there? Okay, well, we might have lost him, which is okay, because Mr. Bobby Worthy is here, and he said he wanted to answer that question. So, Mr. Worthy, what the hell? What are we supposed to do?
Well, first of all, you got to go at the legislature. We like to talk about the Constitution. It wasn't written for us. All right, well, we know that. We was written into the Constitution, and it's not for us. But we in their places, so we got to use their rules and their regulations against them. And that's what I found out. We the bullhorns and all that, and marching protest, it's good. It brings awareness. But until you make effective change with this thing right here, you ain't doing nothing. Because this is what they use to take you away from your family. And this is what I have perfected. The power of this pen to take them away from their families. So you got to learn your legislatures and file. There's several things you can do. You can file a writ of mandamus. A writ of mandamus is a document that you don't even have to be an attorney to file. It is to force the public officials' hands to do the duties entrusted of them. Period. Okay. And it's just that simple. Any blow joke can file it. You don't have to be an attorney. And this is my platform I'm gonna do with the NAACP, is to go around to all the branches and to teach them all the paperwork that they can file without being an attorney to take it to the next level.
Right on. No, I dig that. So for those of us that are in these different motorcycle clubs, and this is a motorcycle MC related show, motorcycle club related show, and we spend a lot of time. I know you guys might not know this, but we spend a lot of time, a number of us, going back and forth. I've been to Tallahassee so many times. That's our state capital. So many times this year that I thought I lived there at one point. I mean, and that's not close. It's like 5 or 6 hours from me to get there. But all those trips back and forth and walking the halls of the Senate and Congress, House of Representatives, and speaking on the floor and all of this kind of stuff gave me a huge education. One of the things that I figured out, and some people hate it when I say this, but we can do what we want here. And the truth is that we figured out that Democrats and Republicans are two wings of the same bird. But the other thing we figured out is exactly what you said. And that is, this bad boy right here, man, it'll get it done. Not everything, because we've got a big fight. It seems like here the past couple of years we keep a big fight in Florida, but I think that it's good for folks to hear, especially because these motorcycle clubs are already organized. They're already in an entity. There's individual clubs, There's a COC, which myself and Archbishop are involved with. There's ABATE, which both of us are involved with. There's the FRRC, the Florida Rights Restoration Committee. They're the ones responsible for something called Amendment 4 that allowed former felons, what we call we like to call those folks returning citizens, that allowed these folks to get their voting rights back. And in fact, the governor, even after people voted to let these folks get their voting rights back, the governor started throwing folks in jail, even though they were legally allowed to vote now. So we got a whole mess here in this town. I wanted to ask y'all about something. I know Mr. Dixon brought this up earlier, but this 10-point program, which again is fascinating. This was written in 1966. It says the program was created in 1966 by the founders of the Black Panther, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. The program includes the following 10 points, which are: we want freedom. We want full employment for our people. We want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black community. We want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings. We want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want all Black men to be exempt from military service. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people. We want freedom for all men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. We want all Black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in court by a jury of their peer group or people from their Black communities as defined by the Constitution of the United States. And number 10 is we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. Wow, that's deep. That's deep as the Mississippi River right there. And for clarification, I actually don't know how deep the Mississippi River is, but I'm just trying to clear it up. But that's pretty deep. And
yeah, it is. I would like to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that a lot of that strikes me. I don't know, but the military service, I guess at the time in which that was a thing. But I was in the Marine Corps. I'm a very proud Marine, and that whole thing. And God knows I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. But there's a lot of things here that ring true. What do you think when you hear about that, sir?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, but we go by the same principles, the 10-point principles now. So the platform, so we don't deny local objectives and things like that. But but I wanted to say something about far as the paper, and it's a good platform for anybody to go to. And now, and I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people don't know this, but Maria knows it because I told her about it before. There is a White Panther Party in existence today that has the same beliefs and understanding that we have as the Black Panther Party, as the Oberlin. Yeah. When Huey asked them that about joining, what did they do to join the Panthers? He said nobody can. You can't. My suggestion is go start your own group, and that's what they did. They started a White Panther Party that has the same beliefs that we have.
Archbishop and I were speaking about that actually right before the show. We definitely were, because the Black Panthers spawned so many other organizations that were similar, that were working for the same exact goals. So that's a misunderstanding that some folks have, is that the Black Panther Party was just a thing for Black folks in Oakland. Whereas this thing spread all across the country. It was Black folks, brown folks, white folks, Asian people, and all over North America. It was impressive. One of the things I wanted to bring up is that, the Black Panthers had a lot of programs that they instituted initially in California, and they spread to other places that were so successful in the areas that they instituted these programs, that the federal government duplicated those programs and said, look what we did. And a lot of folks don't know that, but like that, one of those that my parents told me about many, many years ago, that school breakfast program. I understand that the Black Panthers were the ones that created that, because kids needed to eat, and they found out that kids do better in school if they eat breakfast, and they would feed kids in the morning before they went to school. Is that a true thing, or is that not?
That's true. We have programs as well in places. We feed the homeless. And you say, especially me, I go a little bit deeper. I help. I find a lot of veterans that don't have. They got money coming in. They got cards, and I find them housing and get them off the street.
Okay.
And I tell people all the time, we got to find all these old houses that you see tore up and that's running down, and they call it. Get off the program. They call it squatters' rights, right? That's what the white folks call it, squatters' rights. But legally, it's called adverse possession. You can legally and lawfully go into a property, and if you collectively uptake and keep that property going, you can file adverse possession and move in that property. And for it's different in each state, but each state you can each state has a certain. You pay like 3 years, 7 years of the taxes on that property, then you can file the petition and move that and file for a warranty deed to take over that property.
Yeah,
that's real adverse possession. But they lie and they try to talk about squatters' right. Now, if you go in a house and you're gonna break the door down and take it down, that's stupid. But if you get a licensed locksmith to go in and change the lock, lawfully, legally, adverse possession has been taken, and you can't do it.
It's a tax lien. So in Florida, you can purchase a tax lien and do exactly what you're talking about. I actually know I know somebody in Tampa that's done that on numerous occasions, and a lot of times these are properties that need some upkeep or something like that, where the owners have literally abandoned them or they passed away, or they something, and it's sitting there as a eyesore and a blight in the community. And these folks have gone in and revitalized the community about 30 times over, doing that in Tampa, right here, near where I am. There's a question that we have. So from Uncle Shaggy 1%er has a great question / statement. It says, as conservative as Florida is, how can Florida supersede the Constitution? Archbishop, let me ask you that.
I don't know. I'm not the Lord.
I hear you. Well, in that case, let's go to our legal scholar here. And so Uncle Shaggy is asking you, sir, as conservative as Florida is, how can Florida supersede the Constitution?
All right. Well, listen. Actually, people don't realize is they have two constitutions. They don't realize it. You have a federal constitution. You got a state constitution. Now, this is what people got to understand. That the state constitution was written first, not the Fed. So you need to look into this. The same thing. We don't like to read. So if you can't read and try to do research and understand something, then you will be lost forever. So my suggestion is look at your Florida Constitution and see does the Florida Constitution abides or within bounds of the federal Constitution. Now, if they have an issue and they are violating that Constitution, then they can simply, because they are amongst the Union state, they are one of the states, they are in the state of the Union, then they would have to abide by the federal Constitution. So you got to start doing research. So that's a question that you just got to research on it.
Right on. That sounds like for our purposes, for those of us that are in national motorcycle clubs, that's a standard sort of thing that we all understand is that your local bylaws cannot supersede that of the national organization. And and that's something that sort of varies slightly from one club to the next, but they all, as far as the way it's worded, but it's all meaning the same exact thing.
Yes.
The local not exceed the national. So,
but see, the thing about it is, and this is what we don't understand. Is why we don't like to read. Your most powerful thing to use against any constitutional violation, and I do it all the time. I done had several officers, state officers, removed from office and prosecuted. And you give me an email, I can send y'all the links to it. But anyway, the thing is that that U.S. title. Remember this. Everybody remember this. U.S. Title 18. Section 241. It's called conspiracy against real rights. When one or two persons come together and deprive you of a right that's secured by the federal Constitution, is a federal offense that carries 10 years imprisonment. Now, all these civil rights attorneys, and I talked to Ben Crump before, all these just jumping out here always civilly. What about criminally? What about let's have accountability? You're an officer of the court. So I challenge any attorney out here, if you're an officer of the court, upon your sworn affidavit, you can have somebody arrested. Why you don't do it? because you're about notoriety and money. That's it. You ain't about justice.
Tell us again. You said U.S. Title 18 and what else?
U.S. Title 18, Section 241, conspiracy against rights. 241. U.S. Title 18, Section 241. Put it up on the screen. And I want to tell somebody real quick. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell everybody something quick too. And this is very important. Why your online petitions don't work? Why your petitions in general don't work? A petition have to be done just like a registered voter. If you don't live in that city, you can't live in Florida, you can't be in Georgia and North Carolina and sign that petition. If you can't vote or not registered to vote, you can't sign that petition. I knew somebody had 25,000 votes, and these people, half of the people wasn't in there. When they end up and went through that thing with their petition, he ended up with 3,000 signatures, and they throw this petition out. So people, you got to explain to people, if you're not a voter from here, if you can't vote, do not put your name on this signature. That's why we all fail at these online petitions.
Okay, right on.
Okay, I got a question, right? Since we was talking about this earlier, then I'm gonna give Bone time to rest his tonsils a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Give me a break.
But
I need a break.
But here's my question. I was reading the 10-point program, and I'm gonna read to you section 5. Now I got a question dealing with that.
Okay.
Section 5, it says we want education for our people that exposes the true nature, this descent of American society. Education that teaches us our true history and our role in present day society. We believe in the educational system will give our people a knowledge of self. If a man does not have knowledge of himself and his position in society and the world, then he has a little chance to relate to anything else. Now, that stands true today. Now, my question is that, you know, being the fact that they're trying to pass all these different laws to keep African American studies from even being taught to these kids. And then with the article that we was talking about earlier, where they was, you know, basically trying to push this agenda out to where, you know, we actually did a favor by teaching them a trade. You know, it wasn't really slavery. We was really teaching them a trade. What is it that has to be now? I mean, not just dealing with the school system, but I'm talking about us as people, us as parents, us raising children, to instill in them the truth in this. And why is it that why are they trying so hard to keep the truth from being told?
Are you through? All right. Okay. In my opinion, they're trying to erase our history. That's my opinion. And people will be very, very careful. If we ain't careful, we might be back in bondage again. I don't think that'll happen, but you never know with these people. But if we have to start at the house, and I'm gonna tell you the solution, the changing. See, we must change the mindset. So if we can't change the mindset of our people, now we can put all our weapons on and show up and rally and march and, you know, show a strong force with a lot of people, thousands of people and all that there. But of all those thousands of people, if their mindset ain't changed, because see, the body is going to follow the mind. You know what I'm saying? Wherever the mind is, the body going to follow. And let me give you an example. An example is, let's just say you stayed in the hood all your life, stayed in the projects, and all of a sudden you hit the lottery for $300 million. Now, $300 million, first thing we're going to do is buy a nice car. We're going to spend a lot of money. We're going to buy a nice crib. But if your mind is still in the hood, in 3 or 4 years, that $3 million house you just bought going to look like the projects. You have to change this. And that's the solution to all our problems. I told Stacey Abrams when she was running for Georgia governor. I talked to Warnock when he was running for governor. I said, you want to change black on black crime. You want to change crime in itself. I will give you the solution. It ain't the only thing, but it's the main thing, the core. Rap music. Rap music of today is destroying the mindset of our children. When you can look at your brother and sister and say the N words with a word of honor and respect, and then your brother and sister accept that, then you are, like Minister Farrakhan said, you are in a serious mental state of slavery. Not only do women accept being called B's and H's, they calling themselves that. And not only that, and all that come from what? Rap music. Let me tell you why this. I got a 15-year-old girl now. I've been trying to get out of jail since Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving. 15 years, she's 16 now. She's in juvenile and her mama in juvenile for this. And where they get this from? Rap music. This is not a peace sign. I see children all on Facebook doing it. This is a gang sign. When you extend the hand out, that is a gang sign. This is a peace sign when you fold the hands. See, when you fold the hand, when you extend them hands like that, it is a gang sign. And we are so mentally disturbed because all the rap girls doing it, it's cute until them white folks come knocking at your door and lock your child up.
You know, I'll tell you, it's interesting what you said in regard to rap music. And don't get me wrong, because I'm of a certain age, so I've been listening to rap music since the Sugar Hill Gang. But Sugar Hill Gang and KRS-One and them cats, they were all about, positivity, about coming together. Queen Latifah had this UNITY, like all that kind of thing. But I think you're right. But also, if you look at it, and hold on to your hats when I tell you this one, and I'm going to try not to get off the subject too much, but the thing is that the companies that pay for this music, the companies that pay these artists to produce a certain type of music, they want that. They want the I'm going to call you a nigga this one and a hoe that one and this girl's a bitch and da-da-da-da-da. And especially if that music is glorifying murdering each other, oh, that kid's going to get a contract. But if you come out there like PM Dawn talking about, like stars and moons and all this kind of stuff, nah, that ain't going to work. KRS-One and them cats was doing their thing. What were they talking about? Public Enemy, fight the power.
They don't want to hear that part because
they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear that. It's because it's the same thing that we talk about dealing with the media. It's a narrative. And it's a narrative that has to be set.
Yep.
Narrative out there. The thing that you're doing is thinking about, this is, and you listen to any rap song today, because most rap songs, unlike music before, like you listen to an old R&B music or old rap song back in the day, every single word. Now, the only thing that you understand is the beat and the hook. That's all you understand. Yeah. The rest of it sounds like somebody fucking whining. That's what it sounds like.
Oh yeah.
You remember when what was the various artists, Heavy D, Mixed Melody, and all these people wrote this song Self-Destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. See, little did those brothers know they were writing our history of today. Because we're no longer headed for self-destruction. We have arrived.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but if you take what they're doing right now, okay, so when you listen to the average rap song, it's dealing with what? Somebody shooting somebody, drugs, getting money, getting that bag, so they say. So that's all you hear. So when you talking to, or you got a 10, 12, 13-year-old kid, this is all they hear. So this is what they think is normal. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go out there because the baby said this, or I'm supposed to go out here because this person said this. You know what I mean? This is what's going on. But by them doing that, it's putting you right into the placement that they wanted you at anyway. They've been disenfranchising you for 400 plus years, and they want to keep you in that area.
Exactly.
What it is, it's indoctrination, but it's done in a very strategic fashion.
Hold on a minute.
Go ahead.
This is the reason why you have liquor stores on every corner in the black community, but you don't have them. This is the reason why, you got to think about it. Dude. Black people didn't bring drugs into America. That shit came from somebody else. Where'd it come from? You know what I mean?
Gentrification.
Colombia and get that dope and bring that shit. They bought that shit over here because
Well,
they was trying to start a mass fucking extinction of the black community, and that's what they was doing, little by little. And it started with coke, then it went to crack. Then you go to the, you know what I mean? Now you got so many goddamn meth heads running around this bitch that you got to keep Narcan in your damn car just in case you run up on somebody because you got everybody strung out. But that's the
see, if you go back to since we're talking about the Black Panthers, if you go back to specifically in the late 70s, early 80s, that was and y'all look it up if you don't believe me. COINTELPRO, you know about it, right? All right, COINTELPRO. This was a government-sanctioned action against the Black Panthers and the black community. And drugs was a big part. Am I lying?
Yes.
Drugs was a big part of it. COINTELPRO.
Yeah. What destroyed the original party is destroying the parties now. All the revolutionaries groups.
Oh yeah. And look,
it's what destroying them. Yeah.
No, facts. But I'll tell you, the other thing is like this, is that what Archbishop was saying was correct in regard to the music. But if you notice something in the 80s and 90s, the music they was talking about. Let me clear that. Okay. So in the 80s and 90s, what we were seeing was the rap music was talking about selling drugs. Everybody was a drug dealer, you know, NWA and da-da-da-da-da. They was talking about, they weren't talking about getting a bag. That wasn't the lingo back then, but they was talking about getting money from selling drugs, right? Now, if you flash forward to the 2000s, they're talking about using drugs. So now it went from selling drugs to using drugs, talking about I'm leaning, I'm high, I'm this, that, and other thing, I'm so high. So now these cats are being taught, young black folks and young people, period, are being taught, hey, stay high, you know, get high. That's what you want to do. And here's a funny thing. TikTok, as much fun as it is, if you look at what the feed is, what the algorithm feeds to American kids versus the algorithm that's fed to Chinese kids, it's very different. I'm sorry, the kids in China, they're hearing about excellence in school and good grades and performing well in sports and martial arts and education and science, and it's celebrated. It's celebrated over there. Here is who can twerk the best, you know, or some dumbass drug dealer. I was talking to my lawyer earlier today in the COC meeting, and he was literally talking about how TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook has put more gangbangers and more stupid kids in prison than anything else, because they don't have to do anything else other than they can spend an hour on some dumb kid's social media because he's been conditioned to show out. Let me show you my money. Let me show you my guns. Let me show you my drugs. And he's doing all of that on social media. So when it's time for him to carry his ass to prison, which is what the original plan was anyway from the time he was born, it's just easy. It just made his job easier. But I digress. Marie, you wanted to say something a minute ago. What were you saying?
So, I understand the whole thing saying rap music, whatever, but in all actuality, it starts at home.
Sure.
I have a teenage son and he listens to rap music, and but I also put my foot up his ass when I need to.
Right on.
So, it really starts with the parents, because, and another thing I wanted to talk about was the whole government thing. I made a joke when we were talking about drugs. I was like, no, it didn't come from the Mexicans, But that was something that they brought in to destroy our households, just like they brought in welfare in Section 8, where a lot of people talk about, oh, no, it benefited us. But how did it benefit us? Because way back in the day, our people, they struggled, but they did it together. They did it as a community. So if I didn't have and you did, we would help each other out. Nowadays, It's not like that. And with the so-called help from the government, it's really to separate our families, because, it tells women, we'll give you Section 8, but you can't have your man there.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
We'll give you food stamps. Yeah, we'll give you food stamps, but you can't make a certain amount. So it's all these conditions. The government is not helping our people. And so many people are blinded by that, saying, yes, they are. Some will even go as far as saying, I'm independent because I got my own place on Section 8. You are not independent.
Right. You don't own that.
Uncle Sam is your sugar daddy.
Oh yeah.
So the government is not set up for us.
I met
I'm
a
sorry.
kid. No, I'm sorry. I met this kid one time. This is years ago. I was working on this certain job, and I met this kid who was complaining about his girlfriend. And this kid was 17 years old. And he said to me something and this was years ago. I was in my 20s. And he said this thing that shook me to my core, because he said in a minute, what he said was, man, I ain't trying to mess with that girl no more. He goes, she 18 years old and don't even got no kids. How the hell is she supposed to get a place for us and she don't got no kids? I've been trying to knock her up for 6 months. She be taking a damn pill though. And as ignorant as that sounds, this kid was serious as hell. And he lived in the projects. This was up north. He lived in the projects. And the thing I found out about the girl he was talking about, this girl had come from she was living in the projects with her mother. Her mother had lived in the projects, and her mother's mother had lived in the projects. And I'm like, and I don't know before that, but that was just the way that they lived. Nobody even considered the idea of not being on welfare, not getting the welfare check, and so on and so forth. Do y'all know who Sweet Pea Whitaker is? Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
Yeah,
he was a boxer. Yeah, he was a boxer. And he actually knew some of my family members. They went to high school together. And may he rest in peace. But he married this woman, his high school sweetheart, after he couldn't date my sister because my brother beat him up, which is why he started fighting. No kidding. I hope my family members are watching; they'll verify it. But anyway, but Sweet Pea Whitaker became a very successful boxer. He, grew up in the projects and the whole thing. Didn't know how to read. A guy named Lou Duva taught him how to read so he could understand his first contract. Got $1 million for his first fight on HBO. And was off into the races. Well, he lived in a place that we called in Virginia Beach Millionaire Alley. That's where Martina Navratilova, the tennis star Pete Sampras, Sugar Ray Leonard and Sugar Ray Leonard Jr. lived. This is big time good place. Well, his wife, and this is before Snapchat and Instagram and all like this is back in the day. Well, his wife went to the projects to see her mother like she did every month. And then went to the check cashing place like she did every month. You've been married for 2 years to a multimillionaire. Why are you still getting a $340 welfare check that you went in cash? They threw her black ass in jail. She got 13 months in jail for defrauding the government. But the thing is as sad and stupid as that was, and if y'all don't believe me, Google it. Google is where's Big BoneYard? We can say Google is a motherfucker. Google that shit and you'll see it. It's amazing. This woman is a multimillionaire. She's married to a multimillionaire, but yet she still got to go and get that welfare check and make a trip in her Rolls Royce to get a $340 welfare check that she's got to cash, and taking Polaroid pictures with people holding up her welfare check. That's the conditioning that's happened to our people. I think that's what you were saying, Marie. People get conditioned by that sugar daddy, that welfare check.
Right. And until we break that, it falls on us to break it. Because I will tell you this, when I was, 21, I was already a mother. I was on welfare and I was on Section 8. I was going to school. That was not cutting it. So I did join the military. I joined the Army.
Right.
So that was my way of not living off the system. I'm now retired and whatnot, but it fell on me to break that cycle. And my children are doing amazing. They all have jobs, they have degrees, everything, so it falls on us to break that cycle and educate our children. We're always saying we want our children to be better than us, but yet we don't set up the foundation for them to be better.
All right. So let me ask the question. So, Bobby, let's say hypothetically, and I know this isn't really your forte, but so let's say that you're the boss of a pretty important motorcycle club, right? You already got the look. I mean, I see you blacked out from head to toe. All right, I saw what you're doing right there, But let's say you're the head of a motorcycle club, right? And you got 40 guys in your chapter, and you see all of this stuff going on. And I kind of asked this question a minute ago, but what would be your first move? I mean, we know your first move would be legislative, but in regard to responding to some of the issues that we see here in the state of Florida, what would the Black Panthers do? What would the NAACP do to address, for example, this, what I'm calling the Don't Say Black bill? That's no African-American studies of any kind. What would you guys do here? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's double check you. We can't hear you. Stand by. Okay. I'm sorry. Say again, sir. Can we hear you?
I was mute.
Okay.
Mute.
There you go.
But my first thing I'll do is check, like I said, when anything comes to dealing with the rules and regulations, their laws, you gotta first thing you gotta start with the two constitutions. And within those two constitutions, you gotta start with the laws. Because there's something in there might be help you, but if we don't read it and just run out there with our bullhorns talking all that trash and don't know what we're talking about, then that's what's gonna be the problem. Right. So do your research and understand stuff before you go out there acting crazy.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? So there's things there's a time and a place for everything. Now there's a time and place to get jiggy. There's a time and a place, but you got to, because see, them people, believe me, they do their research. They have their stuff on point. It's just that we don't like to read. Most of us don't like to read. And so,
what's the man say? He said, if you want to keep a secret from black and brown people, put it in a book.
Put it in a book.
Never gonna read it.
Put it in a book. Yeah. And like I said, I wanted to say what she was talking about the kids at a certain age, and he mentioned like 12 or 13. But the problem is nothing wrong if you allow your children to control the access at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? But when you start your child listening to rap music at 3 and 4 years old, when they reach 13 and 14 and 15, they're gonna be too far gone.
They're indoctrinated.
You're gonna have to change that mindset. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to change it, regardless of the fact. But I experience in family members and all that. And then you can see it all day long when you see children walking the road and they're doing that. And I understand they got their own things, but this is what these people targeted. They targeting black folks. And you know what I'm saying? You get it. You have to control the mindset of your kids. And you can do that without giving them something to change their mindset. Put them on a video game with the same stuff. That ain't changing their mindset.
Right.
Because like I said, we can get together all day long. That's not unity. Unity start here. If you ain't got unity in this, the body don't start unity.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But here's the thing. How can we, we're blaming rap music, right? But and I hear this with my son, they would go around, oh, my nigga, or, men talking about their woman as that's my bitch, right? But what if we stopped all that? Because we got to lead by example. We can't be doing do as I say and not as I do. Right. So if we want these children to do right, we have to lead by example. So instead of saying my nigga, my bitch, why not say, what's up, king? Or the nation of gods and earths, they call each other God and earth. What's up, queen? What's up, king? What's up, God? What's up, earth? Why don't we change our lingo on how we address each other? And then maybe the children will start looking at us differently and will, start doing different. We have to lead by example and not by just the words. We got to, lead by action.
All right. Well, let me address that one. All right. Well, the thing is, first of all, the problem is there's no big mamas no more. Because the children are in the same, the parents are in the same mindset as the children. And if both are in the same mindset, ain't nothing gonna change, and history just gonna keep repeating itself. Yeah. You got children, you got mamas, like I said, the girl and her mama, 15 years, 16-year-old now, girl and her mama in jail for doing this. With gang members, though they got them for gang affiliation. So you have, if the mama is doing the same thing the daughter doing and lady doing this and that, then it's not going to change. It's never going to change. There is no big mamas no more. They've taken away punishment. And see, the problem is we try to be friends with our family, our children. I told my daughter, your mama your friend, but I'm your parent. You can't be a best parent and a best friend. One, I'm going to overrule. And we ought to stop buying children what they want and give them what they need. And I told my daughter when she graduated, I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to be like your mama. I want you to succeed us, be better than us, become the greatest version of yourself. And now she's been graduated, and she's an RN, and she's still furthering her education.
Outstanding.
Right.
You know,
how many times have we been talking about this? Donna said the same thing.
Oh, look, we've had this same conversation many times.
Yeah, me and Maria talk about it all the time, and she called me at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
you call me at 6 o'clock in the morning, number one, and number two, I think that so many people forgot that it takes a village. They see one person, and I'm living proof of this. I have several teenagers that I have brought in that were on the streets, that their parents can control them, all this other stuff. I have zero problems with them. Zero, because I let it be known from the jump. Again, I will put my foot in your ass. So, we have to stop turning our backs on these children. And if we see that something's not right, we need to guide them. We have to be there. So, I mean, and not just the women, like you said, Big Mama. Okay, but what about the men? Because for me, I have nothing but boys in this house. Nothing but boys. And I've never been a man. I never will be. I don't want to be. But I have to try to guide them and teach them the best way I can.
I was just thinking, I'll tell you one thing that strikes me. I was reading this article here recently. So, it became, and this goes back to, I hate to jump on the rap music train again, but a lot of the music has conditioned women, and it's cyclical. I mean, sometimes it's coming from the music, and sometimes the music is emulating what's happening out there in the world. But you heard this thing, I'm sure we all heard it, where you got some young women talking about, I don't need no man. I don't need no man. Da 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 da. They don't need no man, but those same exact women that are screaming steadily, they don't need no man, are the same exact ones. Which there's a song out talking about broke N-words don't deserve no pussy, right? Well, I forgot, we can cuss it. Broke niggas don't deserve no pussy. That's Cardi B, right? And they're screaming and hollering about that stuff. But these are the same chicks that are talking about, I don't need no man. I can do all of this stuff on my own. So what happens is these women have this mindset that I don't need no man unless he's got some money. So what do you call a woman who's just using a man for money?
Gold digger.
She's a hoe. I mean, really, that's what she is. She's a hoe because he's having to pay her. And right now you really touched a nerve with me because, that's one of the main reasons I think that we are so all over the place in this world is because of the fact that we forgot our roles. The men and women have different but equally important roles. They need each other. It's like the man is the foundation of the house. The woman is the house. You need the foundation for the house to stand. Without the foundation, that house is going to crumble. And women tend to forget this. We need a man, not in the sense that if we don't have one, we're going to die. But we need the man to fill his role. You need both roles. You do. It's important, and you can't say, I want this man to be the head of the house, but he has to pay the bills. Or I want him to be the man. He's got to pay the bills. He's got to do this, that, the other. But I'm the head of the house. No, that's not how it works. You let the man be the man and you stop trying to take from him. Otherwise, he's not the man and he will eventually walk. You need to be, as a woman, it is important that we are submissive, not stupid, but submissive. Right. And the man respect our role, just as we respect his. If we can't do that, it's never going to work.
And, there's a difference between being independent and having independence, and a lot of women, they don't differentiate between the two. You can be in a solid relationship with a husband that you let him, and I say, let him do his thing. Let him be the damn man that he's supposed to be. And he's supposed to guide his family through the this, that, and the other thing. Right. Right. And that woman is free to make her own decisions and this, that, and the other thing. She will defer to her husband. So that's a woman who enjoys independence, but being independent means you're by your damn self. You're with this guy, that guy, the other guy, the other guy. It's a difference. But the other thing, there's a part two. We've been screaming about like women, and here I go. I'm not beating up on women. I'm not trying to sound like Kevin James or whatever his name is. But
Samuels.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to sound like this dude. But the truth is that you got so many women for the past 30 years. I mean, niggas ain't shit. This dude ain't shit. Men are horrible. Men ain't this. Men ain't that. Men ain't the other thing. But so many of these homes where these women are screaming this don't have no men in it. So who's been raising those dudes who are now 30 years old and he still ain't shit? He's 30 years old, but you raised him. So why ain't he shit? Why ain't he shit right now?
You know what? Let me chime in. Let me chime in.
Yeah.
Just like earlier, this one struck a sore spot. Let me chime in.
Yeah.
I just told a woman about a couple weeks ago, and she said, you know, I got this particular job, blah, blah, blah. I don't need no man. And I said, you know what? The reason why you don't need no man, that's exactly the reason why you don't have one.
That part.
You can be an alpha. You can be an alpha female, and you can be married or dating an alpha male. But there has to be a time. Both of you can't be alphas at the same time.
Right. Well,
you can be an alpha out here while you at work, while you doing your your job and doing what you got to do. But when you come into this house and you got an alpha man that's there that's actually doing what he's supposed to do, then let him do what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? That's the whole part of being the actual partnership. We're not we're trying to work together for a common cause. You know what I mean? So if I'm in a situation to where I feel like I got to compete against you, then I don't need to be with you. You know what I mean? Because you're letting me do what I'm programmed to do. Is to protect not only you, but my family, but to provide for you and my family. That's my job.
But what is she fighting you every step of the way?
Hold on a bit. I got some more shit.
Okay. Do that.
My turn to understand.
No, do it. Go ahead.
So you gotta give me my shit, because let me do my job and then you do yours. And when we do ours together, then guess what? Everybody in this family eats, because you doing your end and I'm doing my end, and we putting our shit together. Now, what's going on right now? The biggest thing that's going on right now is that I feel that we are failing at raising our kids. And the reason why I'm saying that is this. Most people send their kids to school to get them the fuck out the house. Okay, school starting, you're gonna get your clothes, I'm gonna get your clothes, you getting the fuck out of here. Because you going to school from 8 to 4, and I'm gonna sit here and I don't got shit, I don't gotta deal with your ass. When you come home, you're gonna play video games, you're gonna run out here, do whatever, and I don't really have to worry about you. It is not like it used to be, where you had actual fucking parents. Now, mind you, not all the time that your parents were together, but even if you were living with your mother, you still have that communication with your father, who still taught you the stuff that you need to know to be a fucking man. You know what I mean? Right. Now, granted, you have a lot of single parents, which a lot of single parent women that has boys that's teaching these boys how to be men. Now, I feel that there's only a certain amount of knowledge that you can teach a boy how to be a man. You still need the father or a father figure to be there to teach him solely how to be a man. A woman cannot do that job. And once she feels like that she can do a dual role like that, that's where the shit's fucked up at. You got kids out here right now that can't do shit on their own. They 17, 18 years old, and they know that when they walk out this house and do something on their own, they're gonna fucking fail. And they know it, because your mother is not teaching you what you're supposed to know. Your father ain't teaching you what you're supposed to know. And you learn what you need to know from the street. That's the reason why a lot of these people is going down. Now, you think about the education part of this. Now, you send these kids to school thinking that these kids are supposed to learn everything. But think about it. You got teachers there that's overcrowded. You got teachers there that's underpaid. Now, you have China, for instance. China is #1 in the world for education and technology. China is #1 because they make sure that those kids know what they need to know. The U.S. falls like 45. Okay, the state of Florida itself It's the last on the fucking list for education. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you can be a teacher in the state of Florida and not have a degree to be a teacher.
Yep. That's
if you serve at least, if you serve in the military, you can be a teacher. You do not need a degree to be a teacher. You do not need a degree to be a substitute teacher. To be a substitute, you only need to be over 18 years old and have a high school diploma.
Wow.
So you don't really have what it takes to be a teacher or a substitute teacher or whatever. You just go in there to collect a damn check. Yeah. You got these kids that's being pushed out the house to go to school. And when they go to school, they don't learn shit. So when they come here, they don't know shit. And then you think about it, this generation right now, that's going on right now, that's in school right now, if you had to depend on them, by the time we turn 65 and we can retire and go on our way, we are fucking doomed. Because half of them don't know shit.
Now, you know why that is. You know why that is, because in the state of Florida, because Florida is unfortunately, it's an ultra conservative state a lot of times. And Florida understands it needs a working class of people. Now, the governor, just as we know, the governor just chased all the migrant workers out of Florida, which is going to completely mess us up. But in the meantime, he needs to make sure that he has a working class. So a working class is if you got a bunch of, like high school, barely graduated high school, and anybody who can just show up, no degree having so-and-sos, and preferably if you lean to the right a little something, you're going to get you a job as a teacher, because he's more concerned with them being them learning conservative ideologies and Republican ideologies than he's concerned with them learning the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and true African-American history and true American history. So therefore, what are you going to learn? You're going to learn how to be a worker. You're either going to be a criminal, which means you're going to end up being a worker in jail, because that's just prisons are the new form of slavery. So either you're going to end up in jail where you're going to be a worker, or you're going to be a worker where you're going to be a worker. One or the other, but that's why that is. And it's unfortunate. But what we've got to do as a people, we've got to, not just as Floridians, but as Americans, we have got to be conscientious about that. And we've got to do the things that's necessary to change that effort. We have to change that effort. So, and what you were saying, Marie, spot on. And you too, AB, y'all are spot on. What happens in the home is absolutely what determines what kind of adults we're raising, And he said, remember a while back, I said that thing, when you don't know what to do with your kids. If it's a young boy, find your local MC and get him around there. Let him hang out and spend some time with some grown-ass men who can raise him up a little something. You don't have to do this on your own.
But on top of that, which is a good idea, and we've been doing that for years. You know?
Absolutely.
Right.
But you gotta go to these fathers. Your ass had it. You know what I mean? We didn't sit there and push you by your fucking hips to have you have that fucking kid. We didn't have them. Do your fucking job. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I don't give a damn what you and your baby mama get along, you don't get along, whatever. Your obligation is not to her. Your obligation is to your child. So whether y'all get along or not, you still have to do your job. Mind you, you have PC clubs and stuff like that, boys club, big brother, big sister, stuff like that, that they have organizations to where they're able to do that. But you have to take your own fucking responsibility to raise your child, okay? Mind you, you don't have to get along with that mother to raise your child. You can still have communication with your child. And that's what a lot of them felt with. They were like, oh, well, shit, me and her don't get along, so fuck it. Nah, that ain't what this is about. You just bought something in this world. And when you bought him in this world, your overall aspiration is to make him grow up in this world and be able to walk out this house and be successful. And hopefully that you taught him enough to be able to live in this world that you've been living in. That's what you think about doing.
That's the job.
You don't think about keeping a kid in the house until they're 44 fucking years old. Your job is to raise them until they're 18, get them to college, get them to the military. If they want to play ball, whatever they want to do, they want to do whatever they want to do. Your job is to instill in them proper goals, home training. You know what I mean? Moral. values. To that when they walk out that house, they are able to conduct themselves as a fucking person, as a man, as a woman, to be able to handle what they need to handle. And when stuff comes in, granted, parents are going to be there to back them up. If they fall, then we're going to be there to kind of push them up. We're not going to be able to handle your problem, but we're going to help you up. We're going to dust you off a little bit. Like, okay, boy, did you learn something there? What'd you learn? Okay, cool. So you good now? Keep going. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's not what's going on right now.
Yeah.
That's the reason
why Red just said
it's the reason why a lot of them sitting in jail right now is because somebody was not teaching them something.
Right. And one thing that I'm sorry. I was going to say, another thing that happens is that a lot of times, like you kind of touched on, parents, when they're no longer together, it's like, oh, well, he's a no good dog. Oh, she's a hoe, whatever. But what they fail to realize is anytime you badmouth the other parent, you are also putting your child down because that child is half that person. So if you saying your daughter's mama's a hoe, then guess what? You're calling your daughter a hoe. If you say that your son's father is an asshole, guess what? You're calling your son an ass. Kids, you can't do that because mentally that stays in their head.
Oh, yeah, so Red just said that in the comments. Facts. She just said that. Frost said, my baby mama kept my daughter from me for 10 years, can barely speak to her, but talk to my daughter on the regular now that she's old enough to decide at soon to be 14 years old. So that's another thing. It's like,
that's right there. That should never happen. You should never put a child in an adult situation. Whatever your situation is with your baby mama, whatever, that's your situation. Now, put a child in that situation, then what did you do? You just made that child a fucking adult. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you think about this though. Think about this. How many times have you went through? And I know kids from this day that went through listening to your mother or your father talking bad about the other one or whatever, and then you find out years later that whatever that they said was not true. And you sat here all these years thinking that this person was this way, and they come to find out that that was all a lie based on the narrative that the mother or the father put into you because they wanted you to be against the other person for whatever reason they had against you.
So the person that loses in that situation is not the mother or the father. It's always just the kid. And we've seen it. And here's the thing. The fact that all of us here have seen it and everybody listening has seen it means it is all too commonplace. It happens way too frequently. And we can sit here and talk about it. But when we see it, I mean, I think as good people, we have to charge ourselves with calling bullshit when you see it. Because if not, guess what? That kid might be 5 years old with your homegirl sitting there talking cash shit about her ex, who's the father to that little boy or that little girl. And guess what? Better get them straight now because 10 years later, they're going to be at the ATM robbing your ass. Right. So get them right, squared away right now.
That is right quick. Bobby, hold on one second, Bob. Let me get this out. I'm on the road today. Let me get this shit. All right. But I had the same situation. That's why I'm so passionate about this, because with my kids, those are my babies. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn that we don't live in the same place. I'm gonna still make sure that my kids are taken care of. I'm still gonna make sure that I have that positive communication with my kids. You know what I mean? Whatever's going on, they know that if they call me, I'm gonna be 10 toes down into it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna take the mother's word for it. I'm gonna look at all sides and I'm gonna make my decision based off of that. A lot of people don't do that. You know what I mean? And what happens is that you have kids that is lost along the way. And when they get to moving on, especially little girls, because little girls is prone to be with their fathers, their daddy's girls, what they're prone to. So when the father's not around and the father's not putting that education into them, what do? When they get grown, they start looking for father figures. So when you see these females now that you talk to, like you meet a female right now, let's say, Bone, if you were single, but you're not, but if you was, you met a woman right now and you get to talking to her, 9 times out of 10, just about 90% of the females that you meet right now has been abused, sexually abused, or tortured by a man. Why? Because
Yeah,
their father
right.
was not around. So then when they get older, who do they gravitate to? The people who have done the shit to them. They find the same fucking person.
Mhm.
Which
Because you
means
know what it is that
walking
it's
around
familiar.
right now,
It's familiarity.
broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then when you find somebody that's actually good, guess what? They dog the shit out of them. The reason why they dog the shit out of them is because they're not used to that. They're not used to somebody actually being nice to them. They're not used to somebody actually taking care of them. They're not used to somebody that actually gives a shit, that makes sure that they have what they need and that everything is, you know what I mean? You walk up to certain people now, and if you flinch wrong, they flinch it.
Yeah.
That's when you automatically know that you've been abused sometime or another. You've been with a man sometime or another that you done been beat on, tortured, or whatever. So that way, if you walk up to somebody and actually move the wrong fucking way, they flinch it. You know what I mean?
Hey, Kenyatta.
Because their fathers was not around. And then what they learned from being out here, and they thought that it was okay.
Hey, Kenyatta says, look, Kenyatta's saying that these absentee fathers are keeping the strip clubs fully staffed since 1927. All right, I added that part, but I see where you're going with it, Kenyatta.
Statement. Because if you talk to any of them, they're gonna tell you the same thing. They all got father issues. They all got.
Yeah, facts. Well, I'll tell y'all what.
You are, whether you know it or not, you are destroying the same thing that we sitting here talking about right now. You have people that sit here. Now, you know, I know people right now. They go to rallies and protest shit. They sit here and say we need to keep the peace, we need to fight the power, we need to do this, we need to do this. And when they go home, they don't do shit. They don't even take care of their own fucking families. But then they want to go out here and do this. You know what I mean? You see it all the time. So you think you lead by fucking example. You know what I mean? Mind you, I may not have my children here, but I am still their father. I am still doing what I'm supposed to do as a father. You know what I mean? But when you relinquish that, but you fighting for this, what are you? You're a perpetrator.
Yeah, facts.
And you know, Bobby and I, we've kind of spoke about stuff like this, you know, because we did have people in the movement that went out there shouting and protesting and everything, but yet go home and beat their wife, beat their children, you know, do stuff like that. I mean, it's very much alive, and I mean, we can't, you know, we can't allow that to happen. You know, but then again, I feel it goes back to the roles of a man and a woman. We got to respect each other's roles. If we look back, you know, even as much as 60 years ago, relationships lasted because people knew their roles. You know, we educated our children, all that. We respected our man respected us. And it's not about that we were barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. No, absolutely not. I was a very independent woman. I've got 4 degrees. I'm retired, all of this. But in the same token, I need a man. I'm not stupid. I need a man, and I will respect my man as just that. The man. You know, I do feel that 2 alphas get along great if they know their roles. Because here's the thing, I cannot say that my man is alpha if I am not alpha myself, because I am his reflection. So therefore I should be alpha. The difference is that when my man is not home or when he's not around, I have to step up to that alpha position. The moment he walks through the door, the moment we get together, baby, here you go. Here it is. I don't need to be that anymore. But again, it goes back to educating our children, not just educating them, but by leading by example. We got to show them. We have to show them these roles. And again, stop calling each other nigga and bitch, you know. This is my queen. This is my king. This, you know.
Right on. Yes, please. And you know what? I was going to ask you, Bobby, you are basically you're in a campaign right now. How can the folks that are watching, and you know, and again, if y'all
I sent in the chat for my information already.
Did you put it out? Did you put it in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I'm going to look and see if I can find it. And what we're going to do, we're going to make it available on the Big BoneYard Facebook page and on Discord and some everywhere. Frost, if you saw it, please grab it and make sure we can share that, because we want folks to be able to support you, because we need. So for our folks in Georgia, they need somebody like you in a leadership position with the NAACP, brother, because you're doing the damn thing.
Well, listen. What I didn't explain is, I told you about Jackie Johnson. What I do need is we have minister. We have Kenneth Muhammad, one of Farrakhan's former attorneys. Is over at the case. Is attorney on a case, and it's very expensive. So we do have a fundraiser that we do through our cash apps, Zelle, credit card machines, and stuff like that. That people can donate. That we send the money straight to the attorney. You know, it's because he's taking both our cases. Instead of charging us $20,000 a piece, he's charging us $20,000 each. So,
okay.
Yeah. So if they want to donate, then I'm finna send it to you right now. Let me get my 4 eyes. But anyway, I do want to join you, man. But all the stuff we talked about, I was listening, it's all correct, man. Everything is 100% on point. But the main thing behind all that, getting control of the family and running the household, starts here. The mindset. If your mindset is not right, then ain't nothing at the house gonna be right.
Yeah, facts.
You have to change the mindset. Minister Farrakhan said this. He said, "You entertainers make me sick." He said, "You entertainers call your women B's," and I stopped cussing, but he actually said the words B's and H's and all that. Degrade your women and all that there. But when the white folks give you an award on you in your acceptance speech, the first thing you go up there and say, "I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ."
Right.
Does that make any sense?
No,
now
the Panthers,
the Panthers, we used to do, because our former chairman Hashim was one of Boosie badass managers. So we used to do security for Boosie. And we did all the security for Boosie, NBA Youngboy, and all these rappers, because he was in the entertainment business. And one day, one Easter Sunday, I was on stage standing next to Boosie, and my daughter wanted to come in with her friend. Yo Gotti was there, and I looked back, and the whole crowd disappeared. I mean, everybody, all I saw was Boosie. Everything behind me on the stage disappeared, and I saw my daughter dancing and celebrating this type of stuff that was degrading her. And then that point on, the only reason, because I had loyalty, I didn't walk off the stage. I waited till after, and I walked off and left. And I pulled all the Panthers away from it.
Got you. Right on. I'll tell you what, man. Now, look, I'll tell you what. I am, and please put that information up, because we definitely want to share that. Yeah, put it up. We want to share that. We want folks to know how to support you, you know. And Marie, I got to tell you, you have added so much to this particular show. Hopefully we can drag you on here again another time, because, you know, we think that you're doing your damn thing. You come from a family of folks, and I'm hoping that if there's any way we can help you spread that message to other folks, and because a lot of women, I think, will respond to what it is that you have to say, because you're doing nothing but the 100% gospel, and we appreciate it. You know, there's a lot of folks that are going to benefit from hearing what both of y'all are saying. So we hope y'all keep at it. Y'all keep at it.
Nation as well, Marie, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Broke up.
So are you also from the 5% Nation as well?
So yeah, I mean, my ties run real deep with them, with the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths.
Okay.
Because my children's grandfather was one of the first 9 born of Medina.
Okay.
So yes.
Y'all didn't see this happen, but we just got a call in, and I'm pretty sure it's my daughter. Hey, daughter, thank you for calling the Big BoneYard. You're on the line with Big Bone 1%er, your dad, Archbishop 1%er, your uncle, and Marie and Mr. Bobby Worthy. So, daughter, how can I help you? Is this a call for the show, or is this a call for your dad?
It's a call for my dad.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. How about you give me is it an emergency?
No, it was just what you texted me earlier. I wanted to reach back to you.
Okay. Well, I don't remember what I said, so don't say it here. It might be bad. I don't know. But look, I'll tell you what. I love you all over the place, and I'll ring you back in a little bit. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Yeah, speaking of that father stuff, yeah, I do it. Couldn't miss that call.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I just put it in the chat.
Oh, right on. Okay. Let's see if we can see it.
He was talking about that militia that you rounded up.
Well, yeah. Let me. Okay, yeah. I have.
You say you put it in the chat. I don't see it.
I just did it. Hold on. Did I send it? Hold on. Let me double check.
I sent you something earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I sent it. It says it's in there.
All right.
I seen it.
Somebody find it and make sure we get it because I don't see it. But as you were saying, Archbishop was asking about the militia.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
I'm all about that.
Huh?
I said when you talking about that militia, I'm all about that.
Oh yeah. You can join, man. We have a militia that I don't do videos when they train, but we train. Everybody have to turn their phones off and put them in a locker. No video, no video opportunities. Nobody knows how we train. And I keep telling, and I've told all these guys this before. Stop going on Facebook with your training techniques because white supremacist group, you don't see them doing that shit. And they very well are armed, structured, and organized. As you can see what happened to the Capitol. Now just think if all of them would have been armed, what would have happened? We ain't ready.
Hey, what do you think about the NFAGC?
Well, me and Grandmaster Jay, real good friends, and I'm currently working on. I'm currently working on bringing Jay home. If you go to my Facebook page, you will see that I am filing what they call a jurisdictional challenge to bring Grandmaster Jay home. Because see, listen, my legal knowledge, I ain't bragging, is just a little bit above everybody else.
Okay.
So the Fed, in order for the Fed to arrest, indict, or prosecute inside one of the Union states, they have to meet the requirements of the 10th Amendment interstate commerce laws, either one or both. And that is, you got to own the land that the alleged crime happened on. You got to prove that, or it happened on it, or it happened in commerce. You got to prove that. None of that happened to Jay met those requirements. If I was a millionaire, 75% of the people or 85% of the people in federal prison, I have them released in 6 months with what I know. The federal government, if anybody in here ever have a problem with the federal government, challenge their jurisdiction under the 10th Amendment.
Okay. My lawyer and I were talking about Grandmaster Jay earlier, and he said something very similar. Very similar. So
I sent the prosecutor, right? A picture when we was in Ferguson, Missouri. I sent the prosecutor a picture of a police officer on the van with his looking at the crowd, pointing his weapon toward the crowd. So then he and I talked to Jay when Jay first before he got locked up and when he got out on bond and all that. So, but when he and then I put Grandmaster Jay picture up, and I told him, now there's probably was 100,000 people out there. I said, when are you going to issue arrest warrants against this officer for pointing his weapon into the crowd? So now what I'm saying is, any officer that point their weapon unauthorized at you, the law is clear. I don't recommend this. The law says I have a right to resist any false arrest with just as much violence as you have to make it deadly. If necessary, I can take the police life. And that I don't recommend that. But the U.S. Supreme Court, if you got an issue with it, the U.S. Supreme Court, the one that ruled it.
Yep, facts. I remember that from the old days. So my parents, thank God, really raised us in an environment. My mother was part of an organization called the CIA, which was the Citizens in Action. They spent a lot of time working with, they worked with the Black Panthers and the MOVE members in Philadelphia, if you remember that from the 70s. And if you know the MOVE members.
Video because I'm eating. Y'all don't want nobody to
no problem. Well, there's only been twice in American history that they used aircrafts to drop bombs on American citizens. Once was in the first time was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, during Black Wall Street. The second was in Philadelphia in the 70s when the mayor bombed the MOVE members and blew up a whole city block with napalm. And these were back to Africa movement. That's why they were called Move. They were a movement of folks who wanted to go back to Africa. They were vegetarians and lived off the land and that whole thing. And my family, I used to spend time with those little kids, and they all had dreadlocks and this whole thing. We thought, man, what's up with these weird kids? But as we got a little older, we realized what they were doing. Roxanne Jones, who was a prolific political figure in Philadelphia, that was my aunt. But before she was Roxanne Jones, the senator, she was Mama Tombstone from the doggone Black Panthers. And C. Dolores Tucker, who Tupac mentioned in one of his songs, you know, Dolores Tucker, you a motherfucker, instead of you know what I'm talking about. So C. Dolores Tucker, that was my aunt Dolores, you know. So we grew up.
Wow.
Yeah, right. We grew up in a time where being activist and giving a damn about your neighbor and your community was the norm. So the stuff that I see nowadays out here in the world is just ain't right, you know. So
well, you know,
go ahead.
Go ahead, finish what you're doing.
No, I was just saying though that it's been a blessing that you guys have taken time to come and spend time with us and kind of share who you are and what you're doing and so forth, because there's a lot of folks who want to know how to connect with you. They want to know, hey, point us in the right direction. What if anything you do?
Yeah. Did you see it in the chat yet?
I didn't, but I know somebody did, so we're definitely gonna make sure we get it out there.
Listen, my thing is, I'm about truth and justice. I ain't about bull junk and all that there, and the ollie jolly that everybody else think. I'm about, if you're standing up for justice, no matter how you stand up for it, with the way you do it. And I gotta realize some people can only do or conform. Just put it this way. It's like I talked to a pastor the other day, and I told him, I said, listen, everything on God's earth that's under the sun, that lives and breathes, right? Everything, the tree, the plants, the seeds, the birds, the creepy, the crawlers, the roaches, the rats, everything conforms to what it's supposed to do. Snakes, birds, you know what I'm saying? Cows, pigs, elephants, everything that lives and breathes that God created. Everything conforms to what its purpose is except us, humans. And because we live by free will. Now, just think if God would have gave everything that live and breathe free will. And in my opinion, what God's greatest creation is his worst nightmare. Because he gave us free will, and we took advantage of that free will. And it's just, we're taking it to another level that, you know, and even like this, first of all, I see people on Facebook all day. I told my aunt, me and my aunt go at it because she's one of them religious fanatics.
Oh yeah.
Lord, when you call her phone, it's like, thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, and all. I mean, she go on and thank all the archangels and everything. I said, Auntie, that thing is too long. And but I'm just saying, I told her, I said, listen, if you in fact believe in the Holy Bible, then why do you go on Facebook and ask people to pray for you? I'll tell you why. It's because it's not what you don't live. Most of us don't live by faith. We don't live by our love for our children, our love for ourselves. We live by our human nature. Your human nature is what defines you. And if you're not careful, your human nature will what divides you. Because the Bible clearly tells you have to be careful who lay hands on you and pray for you. Because they could manifest something evil in you if they're not right with God. So why would you as a Christian go on Facebook and tell my please pray for my mama? Then you want to know why your mama died.
By the way, why do you sound like Minister Farrakhan all the time? You know, I'm just saying, if I was to close my eyes, I'm listening to the brother minister right now. I swear you heard this. I know you heard this before. I know you heard it before.
I love Minister Farrakhan is one of the ones, man. I have yet met anyone that can debate that man. And he told you, he said, man, he said, you better go before you go behind me. I go behind you, I'm gonna wear you out. I'll take your religion and tear your behind up with it.
Yeah.
But that's just knowledge. That's just knowledge.
Very knowledgeable. I provided security for him back in the 90s after I got out of the Marine Corps. And that was a very cool thing. I worked with the FOI for a month, about a month and a half. I worked with the FOI because he was coming. that was something weird because at the time, I don't know about now, but at the time, they did not believe in firearms. It was something left over because of, what happened to Brother Malcolm and all that. But
the way they, believe me, they don't, but they'll lay hands on you. You can bet you that.
Oh yeah, no, I know. My job, I was training them, and that was the issue. I'm like, well, wait a minute now, no firearms at all. Well, it took me about a good week
I
to
will
figure
say
out how
this
it's supposed to
about
do this.
them.
Yes, ma'am.
The FOI. I mean, I flew out to Chicago in 2018, and I went to Mosque Mariam. Very beautiful place. But I will say this: the FOI, they train. One of Minister Farrakhan's people is, I know he's a red belt or something. I know he's like he's a grandmaster is what he is. And he trains the FOI. So those guys are no joke.
Oh yeah,
I mean they really,
I know. I remember well. In fact, this is gonna sound nuts. My sister, I hope she's watching, but my sister, I got in a little issue, and my sister hooked me up, and I had to teach martial arts to the Boys and Girls Club as what do they call it? Community service. So she hooked me up. So it was doing that at the Boys and Girls Club. So to pay her back, it was, hey, you got to work with the FOI for free. I'm like, damn. And she said the F word, the free part. But it turned out to be an incredibly cool experience. Learned a lot about those brothers and how they got down and everything. Again, like I said, for about a good week straight, I was head scratching because I'm like, what do you mean? No guns? No, none. Like none. I didn't understand that.
Hey, and them boys are, and they very well disciplined.
Ooh,
listen, let me explain something to you. Out of all sports, I try to tell my son and my grandkids to get them in martial arts.
Yeah.
Out of all the sports, NBA, we want our children to play basketball and all that. Out of all the sports in this country, every child that get in martial arts conforms different and better than everybody else. His grades, everything about him excels. The discipline is so much better, and we don't like to put our kids in there.
Yeah,
but we want to play basketball and shit. That then basketball players raping girls now and all that shit. That's crazy.
Nah, it's a fact. Yeah, go ahead, AB.
Minister Farrakhan called for 10,000 to be ready.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question. Now, there's two things that I always say that God Almighty that they can never take away from you, and that's free will and your freedom to choose. That's two things that they can never take away. So,
and your education.
That too. One of my things here, and like I said, we've been doing this show for a while, is that we put the information out, and it's up to you whether you choose to use the information that we putting out or you push it to the side. Like my mom used to say, you eat the meat and you leave the bones. Basically saying, you take the information and you use it for what you need to use it for whatever that you need to use it for. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what this show is about. You know what I mean? Granted, it may have a MC thing dealing with motorcycle clubs, but the information that we're putting out is based on you can use for anything. But the question I'm going to ask you, Mr. Bobby, is that I don't know whether you're aware of this or not, but there's a thing going on right now dealing with motorcycle clubs. And what's going on is that you have, like over in Australia, for instance, I'm going to go to Australia and I'm going to lead back to here. In Australia, you have it to where motorcycle clubs, they're basically trying to do away with it. Okay, so if you riding in a pack more than 3, they're gonna pull you over. If you're wearing paraphernalia, they're gonna lock you up. They're basically doing away with your whole freedom of expression to be able to move around as a motorcycle club. In Canada, doing the same thing now, to where they even have a website put out to where if you want to be a rat and tell on your motorcycle club, then they have a site that you can call somebody and give them the information, and then they deal with it basically like, okay, if you want to be like, if you're in a club and you just want to get away, then you can call this number and you tell us the information and we're gonna get you out of here. Like it's like some bad shit. Now here in America, there's been, you know, I'm sure you can watch the news and you see that there's certain things that are went on dealing with motorcycle clubs in general. A lot of the shit that they're talking about in the news is not true. This is the narrative that they're putting out, just same thing that they've been putting out, dealing with particular races of people and whatnot, to make the overall conceptions as these people are bad people. Okay. In Canada, they had it like, if you see a motorcycle club, don't even approach them because they're bad people. But in these clubs, you have doctors, lawyers, you have a wide range of professional people that's in these clubs. And they're in these clubs for their own particular reasons. But, you know what I mean, how the whole MC started, it started from the military, you know, because when a lot of these guys came back from the Korean War in Vietnam and stuff like that, when they came to America, they didn't offer nothing for them. So they became 1%, because it was said that 1%, like 99% of the country follows the rules and regulations, but you have 1% who does not. Okay, so they made that an outlaw perception. It's not really an outlaw perception when you have stigma that's going on right now, where they are actually stigmatizing actual races of people. So they're thinking Mexicans being this way, and blacks being this way, and whites being this way, and they putting division within them to where this country, as you know, is not united, and more than likely will never be united, because people cannot get over the bullshit to actually see what the overall goal is that they are continually trying to keep you divided, because as long as they keep you divided, then that keeps them in power. So my question is that dealing with the own MC scene, and I know that you're not an MC guy and you don't deal with MC, but you know the law, and a part you're running for president of the NAACP. What do you tell these guys who's moving around? And mind you, these people, because they ride motorcycles, are automatically stigmatized as being, you know, thugs. Okay, rape, robbing, and pillaging, or whatever. Now, mind you, everybody fights. Everybody fights. Everybody has disagreements. But to put it out to the point that you're going to try to put legislation out, because this is what they're heading to. They haven't done it yet. This is what they're heading to put legislation out to weed out motorcycle clubs in general. Okay. What is it on a legal side that we can do as motorcyclists to keep this from going on, besides the fact that we go out and protest and stuff like that? Because I actually started something called Motorcycle Clubs Are Not Street Gangs, and we got shirts and we got a whole thing. We've been pushing it for weeks now, because we're trying to put out that narrative that this is not what we're about. You know what I mean? This is what the media is pushing, what these people are about. You know what I mean? And that's not what everybody is about in general. You know what I mean? Granted, you may have a few bad apples in the whole, you know, in the bush. That doesn't mean everybody is the same way. But they're using that as a reason to push legislation for everyone. So in your legal experience, what do you think that we need to do as regular bikers to keep this from going on?
All right. Well, there's several things you can do. First of all, you got to come together and decide which one you want to do. You can use this old mighty thing here. You can file what they call a color of law complaint, and I can show you a blueprint of it, send it to you, and you file it with your local FBI office. If the state is interfering, then you can send the news media, since they're promoting this, you can send the news media a 10-day letter to cease and desist. You got to give the media a chance to change things, and then you can sue their ass, point blank. But you got to give them a chance to see them. And you can sue them too, especially if anybody been arrested or served any harm. They only understand this. You know what I'm saying? Marching protesting is good because it brings awareness. But that's the only thing to understand. Your color of law with your local FBI office is going to be your best bet.
So, can you explain what the color of law complaint is?
Well, the color of law complaint is, if you go on the FBI website and you look up color of law complaint, a color of law under U.S. Title 241 conspiracy against rights, 242 color of law violation. When you're using the law to violate somebody's right, that's basically what it is. And you and according to the law, a color of law complaint is not voted on, it's not decided on. It clearly says all color of law complaints must be investigated by the FBI. I brought the FBI in on the Bernard King, Bernell, what was his name? Bernell out of Jacksonville got killed. So I brought the FBI in on it using a color of law complaint. They must, and if you go to my Facebook page, Bobby Worthing, and just type in color of law complaint, you'll see a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
And all right, if you get with me, get my information, send me a text message and I'll send you information I can send you. If you do y'all have anybody that handles your legal issues?
Yes.
Okay. When they get that guy to go to the FBI and file a color of law complaint.
Okay. Right on.
That'll take care of that.
Man, well, Bobby, I got to tell you, brother, you absolutely been a wealth of information, and you inspired us. You gave us that whole Farrakhan vibe, which I personally appreciate, you know. And Marie, both of y'all have been fantastic with us tonight, and I'm hoping that this ain't gonna be the last time we see y'all. You know,
just call me, man. I'm gonna start following your show, man. I like shows. I go on a lot of shows, man, for different reasons.
Right on.
Yeah, so
yeah, this is probably the best one. Archbishop told me a little while ago this is the best show you could watch. He just said that a little while ago. You don't know it, but he did say that. I heard it. So, but no, man, look, yeah, definitely check us out. You know, y'all fuck with us, man, because you know, we're all over the place, a lot of different subjects. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say this before we go. Not that the guy, oh man, I forget his name. He just left. The elder,
Mr. Dixon. Elmer Dixon. Elmer Dixon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did he ever come back on?
No.
He said that he was having he said call dropped. He said perhaps you can get me on a future podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I thought it was going to be something because he actually said something at the beginning when he was speaking that I've always addressed. I've addressed with Bobby Seale some years ago about, because he actually said it. There's number one original Panther Party. That was not the patch. They tried to sue for using the patch and they lost. They tried to sue Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz and he won that case because the patch is so it is so out there. The Freedom of Death Patch, the Panther, it's so many versions of it. It's impossible to copyright it. It's impossible to trademark it. And most of the older Panthers, you always use that little slick disc. And it's cool with me about, you know, there's not but one original party. I got a patch say New Black Panther Party, and that's fine in mind. I said I earned it, and I deserve it. So yeah, y'all gone, y'all the old party. Y'all gonna leave us alone and let us run our thing. Let us do what we need to do.
You know, you sound like a biker right now. You sound just like a biker right now. But we have to respect them elders. Hey, Archbishop, you heard him sounding like a biker just then, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
You did what now?
I said, you sounding just like a biker right now, complaining about your patches.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Bobby, we always have to respect our elders.
Listen. I understand that. I've been doing this shit for 3 decades. I understand what you're saying. Respect is given with respect. So when they all, I done talked to Bobby Seale, me and him had it out. And you cease to become an elder when you act stupid and ignorant. Period. We're trying to move forward. You can't stop us from moving. You can't do it no more.
Correct. But you and I have had conversations where we have said that the Panther Party nowadays is nothing like what it used to be.
No.
On all these
I understand.
organizations, they are not what they used to be. What they used to be was far more better than what they are now. So with that being said, we need to respect the elders and those founding fathers.
Regardless, listen. I've been doing this shit for 3 decades. If Bobby Seale can get up here and pick this damn gun up and go march with them damn people, then he bring his ass home. I understand that about respecting the elders, but the elders got to respect the younger ones that's trying to do what they should have did and kept going.
Right.
And I understand that. And I'm not disrespecting. I'm just saying the little slick diss because all of them said that. All of them be saying that. But I'm here to tell you, legally and lawfully, ain't nothing they can do about it because it's been decided in court.
But they earn the right to say
and it's cool they say that, but I'm not gonna sit back and say you gotta respect me. Ain't no elder finna come up to me and talk about you gonna do this, you gonna do that. Bullshit, I'm a grown ass man.
But they've been through it already.
I don't know minute, but we still going through it. They didn't change shit.
And neither have we today.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we try. But that's what we trying to do now. So listen, you ain't doing nothing. Leave us the hell alone, huh? If they ain't doing it,
how long have we been trying to do it? Because I tell you what,
I understand that. Put this here. Okay, put this. Look at and you're right. They've been doing it before we ain't shit didn't change. So we done took up the blame.
Back then, these organizations had our own medical clinics, our own dental clinics, our own schools. We had all that. What do we have now? We don't have none of that.
But you listen, you know what destroyed all that? The Panthers falling into the counter pro shit. That was destroyed it. And drugs, getting involved in sex and all that stuff and doing all the criminal acting is what destroyed. Read, Google it. It is what destroyed. It what destroyed the original Panther.
Because you and I have spoke about this. So let's go a little bit further with that because we spoke about this. When I said to you, the Hispanics, we have the largest of the organizations. Why? Because we stick together. Now, the blacks in numbers, they have more numbers, but the problem is their organizations are so small. Their organizations are so small. And why is that? Because everybody wanted to be a boss and nobody wanted to be a soldier. You got to follow.
That's what I understand.
And until you guys come together and join like you should, we're not going to get any.
Well, listen, hold on. First of all, you going all off the ringer. We ain't talking about what we doing. We talking, you came and said, I don't respect the elders. I never disrespected him. I answered his diss. And believe me, if he was still on the phone, it would have came back up and I would have addressed it. Because first of all, before anything, I'm a grown man. Like I said, I had this conversation with Bobby Seale, and I told him the same thing. All right, pick your gun up and join us. What you gonna do? Oh, the first thing you can do, always coming up with advice. Oh, you should have did this. Y'all need to do this. Well, y'all didn't do it. So what the hell?
But that's why they're trying to give us advice because they should have done it and they didn't. So they're trying to give us advice.
No. Listen, device. Listen. Here go the device that they give us. Get your guns and strap up and let's go take care of the people like we're supposed to. That's what an elder told me. You got to be stupid as hell. First of all, we ain't got enough weapons. We ain't organized enough. They would kill our ass. That's the dumbest advice this motherfucker can give you. I'm just being real.
Back then, they used to stick together.
Yeah, but they said we ain't back there. We in 2023.
That's why we need to respect them because back then they had it together. Listen. Together. They weren't broken up in 10 different organizations.
But still, fucking respect, regardless, comes with respect. You can't walk up and talk shit to a grown ass man or woman, and just because you're an elder, you can't be accountable. Bullshit.
He was the Panther before we were even thought of.
That don't mean nothing. He still got to respect what's going on now. If they don't.
He did not disrespect. He stated a fact.
Okay, now. Hold up.
Okay.
So we was going.
Okay.
And Bobby is a dear friend of mine. So this is normal for us.
Hold on. We was going good there. Hold on.
Okay.
We ain't about to do that. Okay.
Okay.
So,
I'll tell you what.
No, we good. We good. We
I'll tell
good.
you what. I think what it was a spirited debate. If I can share this.
Exactly. And I let it go on for a while.
Yeah.
But
you go. Good.
So we good on that. Now
Oh,
that's
yeah, we good.
now, I was talking about right there. Even though I agree with both sides, that's a private conversation that we're going. You know what I mean? That can be had.
Oh yeah.
Over with.
I'll tell you what. I think it was a spirited debate, and I think the biggest thing for folks to understand, whilst people can be people having passion about a thing, does not mean that Bobby's at Marie and Marie's at Bobby and they hate.
No, we cool.
That means that they care so much that they will have a spirited debate. But that's because the shit that we're talking about is important.
Exactly.
If you didn't care or it wasn't important, wouldn't nobody say shit? Nobody would get a little hype. But that's all right though, because if for those of y'all that was watching, if you got what we got that this was important. It is important. So if you have an opportunity to get plugged in and get involved, do that. If you want to find out more about what these cats are doing, man, let us know, get at us. We want to make sure you have the information to do that, because right about now, it don't matter whether you're in Florida or other places. Now is the time to get involved and to make sure that your country ends up being like the hell what it's supposed to be. We need y'all. We need y'all. So these folks in these organizations need us to get involved, and whether you're going to pick up your pen or pick up your gun, and, we're not advocating violence. What we're saying is take a stance, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
You know what? I see the point in both, you know what I mean? And being that, I know that the Panther Party actually stopped in 82, 83.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new party started, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, if you think about it on an MC point of view, it's like where you have the old heads and the lifers, and then you have the new ones, you know what I mean? And the new ones try to push out certain stuff, and you got the old heads like myself. They'll be like, hell no, that's some bullshit. We ain't about to do that shit. But you got the new ones that also have like you gotta think, when you bring new people in, you bring them in for the fresh ideas, for the ideology that they bring to the club. You know what I mean? It's not always about everything being status quo. It's about taking whatever you have, whatever club or organization that you're in, is taking it to another level. You know what I mean? So, I agree with both ends of it, actually. You know what I mean? Because I understand that there has to be a particular spot for the new guys to come in and be able to voice their opinions and voice, what needs to be done right now based on what they're seeing, as opposed to the old heads coming in like, okay, this is how it's been. So you gotta have that mutual understanding there. You gotta have that mutual flow of things. And that's where the old party and the new party came into.
All right, y'all back.
You know what I mean? So I agree with both. You know what I mean? You give respect to the old heads. Also, even dealing with clubs, when you're dealing with old heads and new heads, like, okay, y'all set the foundation for what's to come. It is our job to continue on with that. You know what I mean? To be able to push it to a new era based on what's going on and what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, I agree with you 100%, Archbishop. And so let me take a minute, seriously, to honestly to applaud both of y'all, because while some folks might say, oh man, they're going at it, guess what? It's not a WWE thing. This is two folks who really care a lot about their communities and the folks in this country. And God knows I applaud both of y'all. And we definitely want to have y'all come back sometime soon. But we've been at this for 2 hours and 9 minutes. Well, so what?
The same conversation, because like we've been saying in all these other shows, in order for us to do anything, we have to be united. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Fuck the news shit. Fuck the political shit. We are people first. That's the reason why I keep saying that. We are people first. And as long as we keep sitting here going along, with the same program, we're gonna continue to be divided. We're gonna continue to be at odds with each other over shit that went on 100 fucking years ago that have nothing to do with us.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why the conversation got heated, because again, you know, in order for us to get together, sometimes when you get folks together, that does not mean it's not always kumbaya. People are going to get together, and people don't necessarily always see the same thing the same way, even though they want the same result, right? We're trying to get to the same place. We just might see it a slightly different way. And when people really care, as obviously as these two folks do, as Bobby and Marie care, yeah, you know, you get a couple of little fireworks. But I say all that to say this, is that please keep that energy, keep that passion, but of course, keep working together, together. And every community that y'all are in, man, y'all keep doing the damn thing. And some folks that are watching here tonight, I'm sure you're going to hear from some folks, and hopefully some other folks throughout the country is going to hear about what y'all are doing and support you in your collective efforts, man, because y'all are doing the damn thing, and we appreciate what we see. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say something, man. You know, I'm passionate about it because I've been doing this for 3 decades.
Yeah.
And every elder that we have been involved with, or somewhere, I'll get some smart remark on Facebook. I'll say the wrong things that he got to say. Y'all ain't this, y'all ain't that. You know what I'm saying? That's you know, it get to be ridiculous. And they all do the same way. They're a little slick dish. I just want to let you know they're number one party. Okay, with it.
I feel you, and you know, and that's the kind of stuff that y'all are gonna work that out. And the thing is I haven't seen the organization yet that's perfect, or don't have somebody talking shit, or somebody who's feeling like somebody who's talking shit, or any, you know, that's gonna always happen. The thing is, we have got to keep moving forward, though, because like you said, you've been doing this for 3 decades. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You're gonna keep doing the thing. And Marie, you was raised in it. You ain't going nowhere. You're gonna keep doing the thing. And the good news is that because of the fact that y'all are gonna keep doing this damn thing, the rest of us get the benefit from that, because we've got leaders like y'all who are going to continue to show other folks the way. And that's going to be huge. That's hugely important. But in the meantime, I got to tell you, we're at 2 hours and 12 minutes. I love the fact that y'all came out here and spent some time on Big BoneYard with the boneheads that came out to fuck with us tonight. And
so made me ride motorcycles.
Say what now?
Y'all gonna make me buy me a motorcycle.
Man, yeah, hell yeah. Look, I'm gonna.
You better not let me see you. I'll push you over on that thing.
Hey, look, we gonna do the damn thing.
I'm gonna get a 3-wheeler.
Hey, y'all hang out with us just for a second, because we're gonna wrap up and say goodnight to all the boneheads. We're gonna be back in about 7 days. Y'all hang on for the after show. But in the meantime, love and respect. AB, you want to holler at the folks before we go?
Yeah, man. I want to tell everybody I had to step off a second.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling everybody I appreciate everybody for being on there. Also, to put a couple things out. Number one, y'all know we got this party going on Friday and Saturday this week.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that party gonna be epic. If you want to come, send us a text, email, whatever. We're gonna let you know where the location is. I'm telling you, it's gonna be people coming around from everywhere. This party's gonna be epic. Matter of fact, I got a gift the other day.
Ooh.
Straight from Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice.
I ain't telling you yet. I figured, Bone, this me and you, we're gonna get this first drink out of this. Because you know, me and your birthday. Your birthday was the other day. Your birthday was the other day. My birthday is Wednesday coming.
Right.
I'm 26. So I'm gonna tell you, if you don't hit my Facebook page, happy fucking birthday. We got a goddamn problem. Right now.
Right on.
But I just put my my link thing on the bottom there for everybody to get a hold of me. But we're gonna have a good ass time. You know, it's gonna be in Tampa. We're gonna have a good ass time. Anybody want to come down, hang out with us for a couple of days, because it's gonna be the birthday party and also my lifer party. So so it's gonna be 2 days worth of fun. Okay, it's gonna be 48 hours. I'm saying, and what I mean by that is that we're not stopping, which means it's gonna continue from Friday to Sunday. It's not gonna stop. It's gonna be a continuous fucking party. I don't know. Some of y'all may not be up for that. Some of y'all have that, but we're gonna keep that shit rolling for 2 fucking days, 48 hours. So make sure you come down here and hang out with us, show you love, whatever. But then we're gonna be on here on Sunday. We may be hungover, but we're gonna be on Sunday, and we're gonna talk about this party. You know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff going on. We got raffles going on. We got Skinny that donated that
the guitar and stuff. Yeah,
beautiful guitars. It's like literally a $5,000 guitar setup that we're gonna be raffling off. That's something that everybody needs to get involved in. You know what I mean? Like I said, it is a beautiful guitar. For the past couple shows, we've been showing it on here to show everybody what it looks like. It is a beautiful guitar. He's actually going to be at the party. I'm trying to get him to autograph the guitar once it gets raffled off. But it is a good thing. You know what I mean? With a real good time. We're going to come down here. We're going to have a good time. But to everybody, I appreciate everybody coming here watching. Like, follow, share, subscribe, because what we're talking about tonight needs to go to the masses. Everybody needs to understand that this is what it is, because it's not just, some people may take this as though like, okay, this is a black thing. This is not a black thing. This is a people thing. This is black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Ukrainian, whatever. This is a everybody thing. And as long as you sit here and you keep going along with the status quo of everything, and you're listening to the news, because some people listen to the news, they know that it's bullshit because they know that they're not telling you everything. And some that believe that if it doesn't come on the news, that it doesn't make sense. It's not true. People are lying. People are lying to us. We've been lied to for a long time. And it comes a point in time that everybody has to come to the fruition that this is not what this is about. We have been lied to for years, and we have to come to the etymology that this is what this is really about. We need to come together as a people, as a whole. Fuck the race, as a whole. Okay, this is how you make things change. This is how revolution. This is not a revolution. This is something that the people have decided. The people, not the ones that you elected, but the people. And the people is who governs what goes on in this world. So, everybody else, peace out to everybody. I appreciate y'all being here. And I want y'all to think about this show. I want you to think about this message. I want you to tell other people who haven't watched this show to tune in and watch this show, because it means people need to be awakened of the stuff that's going on.
Right on. I'll say the power of the people is much more than the people in power. Think about it. The people in power are not as much as the power of the people. Anyway, I'm going to shut the hell up. Thank y'all for coming out. All of y'all, Bobby, Marie, Mr. Dixon. Hey, we can't say enough for y'all, but in the meantime, thank y'all for coming to the Big BoneYard. We gonna hold on. Yeah. Say what now?
Y'all just hold on after we end the show.
Yeah. Hang out for a minute.
Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.